Now, let us go back together to the early 15th century, a time when Europe was filled with war, fear, and betrayal. In that era, a man emerged in Bohemia, and he would forever change the rules of war. His name was Žižka, and the most terrifying part of this story was this. This man completely lost his sight, yet he never lost a single battle. Žižka was not born with power. He did not grow up in wealth. He was born into a world where survival was the only option. In Bohemia, nobles oppressed the people and the church spread fear. In this world, the weak had zero chance of survival. That is why Žižka chose to become a soldier, but he did not learn how to serve. He learned how to fight. For years he fought in different armies. He learned blood, mud, and betrayal. But the year 1419 changed everything. Bohemia was burning. Religious reformers were executed, and the people rose in rebellion. The Hussite Wars had begun, and Žižka joined this uprising. At first, there was no real army, only rebels. They were weak, disorganized, and unarmed. But Žižka noticed something. What he saw was not just a crowd. Jan saw a system that could be broken. Knights relied on their armor and on the power of cavalry. But Žižka was about to change war completely. He invented war wagons that would change the fate of battle. Wooden moving fortresses, filled with archers and early firearms. War would never be the same again. At the Battle of Sudomias, they faced a far superior enemy. Heavy cavalry forces attacked with brutality. They were completely confident of victory, but they did not calculate the terrain as their enemy. The swamp was swallowing horses. Armor had become a burden, and Žižka struck the final blow. This was not a battle, it was a lesson, but war always has a price. In one clash, Žižka lost his left eye. In this situation, most commanders would retreat. He did not. Years later, another blow came. He lost his other eye as well. Now he was completely blind, and his enemies thought, "It is over." But they were very wrong, because Žižka no longer saw with his eyes. He saw through the sound of war. Footsteps, screams, the direction of arrows became his map. And this made him even more dangerous. At the Battle of Vitkov Hill, a massive Crusader army attacked. Victory seemed certain, but Žižka was waiting on the hill, with only a small number of men. Fire, discipline, and perfect positioning, the attack was pushed back. Once again, the impossible happened, and Žižka won. Žižka was no longer just a commander. He had become a legend, because he proved one thing: you do not need eyes to see war, you need to feel it. In 1424, he fell ill, not to a sword, not to an enemy strike, but to time itself. And he left behind a legacy that even a blind man could destroy armies and change the direction of history. For more cinematic history stories, subscribe to the channel.